You posted a tweet, and it was a quote from Master Dogen, a Zen master,
Yes.
saying, "You should stop the intellectual practice of pursuing words and learn the stepping back of, quote, turning the light around, end quote, and looking inward. Mind and body will naturally drop off, and the original face will appear. This is thinking of what does not think." My specific question, though you can comment on the whole passage if you'd like, is what does mind and body will naturally drop off mean?
Let me say a little bit about Dōgen. He's a true pinnacle of Japanese Zen and a superlative guy. He was neglected for centuries, but now he's all the rage among academics. But in terms of Zen and as a Zen reformer, he was very, very important. And what he emphasized was the importance of authentic awakening, because people can mistake altered states of consciousness or things like that for true awakening. And that's about as big a mistake as you could make. But in addition to that, what he stresses, especially in his Shobogenzo, is the importance of, what's the phrase he uses? He calls it the aftermath of awakening. And so there's a long history of people like going way off the track after awakening. And the phrase for that is, walking across the land and the landscape's littered with skulls, right? Skulls of people who have awoken, but who have gone sideways. So the Shobogenzo is probably a good place to start. And Cleary's translation is superlative, as usual. Now, mind and body falling off is when you awaken, you're no longer particularly in your body, and you're not in your mind. Your mind and your body are just more pieces of the landscape. They're not particularly you, and yet they are you. And this is the difficulty in articulating any of this stuff. Yes, it's you that's walking around, but your consciousness is so vastly expanded that the whole concept of your mind, your body, is ridiculous. And so that's just something that has to be experienced. And that would be, of course, the original face. That your true self, your true identity, is as vast as the cosmos, and plus it's suffused with the most indescribably deep, profound love that you don't even know what the word love means until you've experienced it. And furthermore, it's home. Finally, you're home. Finally, you've found who you actually are. All your problems are over, at least temporarily. And there's no place like home. And so when you're home, you're not particularly identified with your ego or with your thoughts or with your body. As a matter of fact, although the body's not that huge an obstacle, your mind certainly is, because if you start chattering, if your mind starts chattering, then it really is a damper on the whole experience. And so does that help?
It does help, but I'd like to ask two follow-ups. One is a clarification. So mind and body naturally dropping off, the description you gave is different from that point in meditation you can sometimes reach where you don't even feel your body or have thoughts anymore? Or is that also included in this idea?
No, it's totally different than that.
Right. Okay.
One is dissociation, and the other one is transcendence. And transcendence of transcendence. It's something altogether different. And so that's a real danger in meditation that's not, how should I say, properly guided by a teacher with experience, because you can mistake, the tranquilizing effects, the dissociative effects, the all the kind of things that happen during, routine meditations for awakening itself, and that's a mistake. But when you've awoken, you don't need anybody to tell you that you've awoken. I mean, it's the beginning of your life and the death of your old life. And so yeah, that's probably all I should say about that.
My next follow-up is when somebody notices that they're attached to their body, they're feeling separate from the rest of experience. It's not like, as you described, their body's part of the landscape. Like, yes, it's their body, but also it's not to be so possessive about it. They're feeling this attachment to it. What is the antidote to that to develop?
Well, that's not something that's what he means when he says your mind and your body naturally fall off. You don't try to do that. Trying to do that is a mistake. It's a deviation. And this is one of the problems that I see all over the place, is that people mistake teachings that are meant for after kensho, after satori. And they assume that if they just practice that beforehand, they'll get to satori, but that's not how it works. It's not at all how it works. So the practices before and after are different, and it's hard to draw a straight line. I mean, if you read through, there's a book called Transmission of Light, which is a compendium of Zen awakening stories. If you go through those, or if you go through all the hundreds of books that are written on this subject, you'll find that there's so many different ways that people wake up, but all of them include sincerity. And virtually all of them, I mean, 99.9% of them include effort, preparation, and intent, true intent. And so without the sincerity and the intent and the effort, then you're not going to go anywhere unless you're, Ramana Maharshi or somebody. But, those are very different situations, because he grew up in a culture that was imbued with that. And the same thing with Krishnamurti, right? Mm-hmm. And so if you look at the path of, for example, Eckhart Tolle, I mean, he was studying philosophy, German idealism, Meister Eckhart, and people like that. And he was in a really deep depression. Now, that's the other thing, is what you think may be good may be actually working against you when it comes to awakening. In my case, it was after my ego was completely shattered and ground into the dirt. It was shortly thereafter that I woke up after a nap. And so who knows how that part works? I don't think anybody, it's very hard to generalize, as it should be. But the preparation is very important. And the thing that's good about the preparation is all it's going to do is improve your life, every bit of your life. I mean, if you're more conscious, if you're more aware, just like, Spirit is always talking about being in identifying with the eternal I, or the immortal I, or whatever, or Spirit totally talks about the present. Krishnamurti just calls it love, which is a great descriptor, by the way. And those, I've lost my train of thought. I kind of got lost into the something else there. So where were we? What were we talking about?
Not deliberately trying to remove attachment.
Oh yeah. So you can't. You don't know the means by which to get there, and that's why the preparation's always the same, pretty much. Intent, effort, and sincerity, and honesty with yourself. And so the reason that that preparation for satori is recommended for so many. One of the reasons is that there's nothing to lose. It's all gain, no matter how you slice it.
That's helpful. Thank you.